Hey everyone, Aaron here. Welcome back to another anime request. Today our request goes out to Kozi, and I appreciate it. And also today's request is going to be of Your Lie in April. Now, what's funny about Your Lie in April is that I actually had planned to see it originally way back when it first started, and I was actually really because I mean it only came out last year, but I really wanted to watch it, and I was reading the manga for it. At least I read the first, I want to say, several chapters of the manga, and I really liked it. I thought it was an amazing story. But lo and behold, what's odd was that I had the ending spoiled by me when someone that I knew got ahead of the show and spoiled the whole ending, which I'm not gonna do for you guys. I swear to you, I'm not gonna do that at all. I'll keep everything pretty good when it comes to that. But yeah, the ending was completely spoiled for me, and I thought, you know what? I guess I'm gonna put it on the back burner for now. And what's really great about my YouTube channel is that a lot of you, when you ask for request reviews and stuff like that, it gives me a reason to actually go and watch the stuff that I actually wanted to watch originally. And this is one of them. I wanted to rewatch this. I wanted to at least, get back into it somehow, even though the ending was spoiled for me. And I'm so glad, Kozi, that you told me to watch this because honestly, I mean, besides you, I've had other people that I've talked to that tell me, oh, it's one of the best anime ever. And while I don't think it's one of the best anime ever, I really do think it is a very awesome show. And I'll tell you right now, I'm not going to be one of those people that compares this right away to other shows. I'll say though that this is the best way I can kind of do my own comparison. Clannad is always my top anime, and it's always first place in my heart. It's always been there. Your Lie in April comes very close. I'll say it that I'll say it just that way. Comes very close to actually getting almost tied with it, and I've very rarely have had an anime do that. So it should give you already kind of a track of where this review is going to go. But let's talk about some of the backstory so you guys understand what's actually going on in Your Lie in April. So we have our main character Kousei Arima, who he's a pianist who plays for a long time as a little boy. He's really good at the piano. He plays amazingly well. He's actually known throughout the area that he lives in Japan for being one of the best, kind of child prodigies at the piano because his mother was a famous pianist also. Now, what's funny about that is that as the story goes, though, initially, what you see is that you don't start off at that point per se. You actually start off where now Kousei is several years older and he hasn't played the piano in over a few years because of a certain incident that happened to him when he was a child, causing him to actually lose the sound that the piano makes to it in his heart. It's not that physically he can't hear sounds, and it's not like that he literally cannot hear anything, but more so that the sound that's played is just to him almost like it's underwater. And some of the imagery later on in the show will actually show him trying to struggle, where he feels like he is underwater, he's playing the piano, and he just can't hear anything. It's just everything sounds like he's just slamming on keyboards without actually hearing notes. Now, what's odd about this show though is not the main focus. Like that is the main focus initially, but what really happens in the show is that then we are introduced to another girl. Her name is Kaouri Mizuyomi, who she is a violin playist. She plays violin very well, and ironically, Kousei is actually forced to go on a date, like a three-way date with another girl he knows, and this guy who actually just said that he wants to go out with her because she asked him out. So he's kind of like the third wheel, or even the fourth wheel if you really want to think about it. And he ends up meeting and running into her playing a certain song for little kids. And he falls, I don't think per se in love with her right away, because remember, these characters are all 14 years old. But he feels something emotionally strong within her because he hears the sound she's playing with this certain instrument. I forgot the name of the instrument. But he hears that instrument and he feels like he really just is overtaken by beauty and once again could hear some sound, which is very rare for him. Now, over the course of the show from there, what it's going to become is that he now has to deal with getting back into the piano some way because she actually asks him specifically to be her accompanist, which, if you guys don't know, in the musical world is where someone has to accompany you playing whatever instrument that is supposed to be with whatever instrument you're playing. So in her case, she's playing violin and he plays piano, so she wants him to play the piano while she's playing violin. So they go. It's almost like a melody of sorts that both musical players play together. Now, what's funny is that I love music. I really do love old classical music. I'm one of the things. But what's funny is I've also talked to people who've seen this show beforehand and don't really care for music, like old classical music. And a lot of them said the same thing that I think made me laugh was that even though they didn't like it, like classical music, they found that this show was very approachable and almost made some of them actually start caring for classical music, because a lot of stuff in this show is based off of classical music like Chopin, Bach, Beethoven. Those are just to name a few. You'll hear a few others, but it's interesting because this show is really infused with the concept of music. Excuse me, I almost said magic. It is magical in many ways, though. This whole show is something that I am just stunned that what they took was an infusement of all these different emotions and made a roller coaster of a show that I just, when I finished the show a little while ago, I took a breath and I went, wow, this was, I almost didn't want this to be over. It was that beautiful. It's almost like, and I think this is the best way to put it. If you've ever heard a song that you really love, and I mean not the stuff that modern day songs are, but I mean you can compare it to that if you really want to. But if you've ever heard a song that you really love, that when you get to the very end of it and it finally finishes, you're like, oh, wait, it's over? Oh my god, I got lost in it. That's what's amazing about the show, is that it does the same stuff that it's trying to do in the terms of music and trying to do it visually with animation. This show, on every note possible that I could find, is amazing. You have a great storyline with just a little bit of melodrama. That's probably the only singular flaw, that sometimes the melodrama does hit some notes that are like, it was unnecessary, but it's not a big deal. It's nothing that actually takes away from the show as a whole. I mean, honestly, every little dramatic moment that happens in the show, every little piece of romance, every single element of surprise and heartfelt issues that these characters deal with. You know, you meet other characters who are dealing with similar issues as Kousei is, because I mean, Kousei is in the world of music, and I think a lot of people that know any instrument or have ever played an instrument know it's a hard world sometimes. It's one of those worlds that you have to really get invested in and kind of sacrifice a lot for it. And I mean, if you think about it, Bach and Beethoven, all of them, for example, they all did go through a lot of issues in their life surrounded by music, because it's just the concept of it. And that's what this show really, really wants to put out there. This is a show that I from beginning to end, was watching it, lost in just how beautiful it was from every little aspect of the story. Visually, this show is amazing. I actually really love the kind of art style that they went for with this, because there's a lot of nice colors, there's a lot of strong imagery, and even when the comedic moments happen and the characters get like the goofy anime faces that you all know and love, it's nothing that really derives the show or kind of deviates from what's great on screen. It's just meant to be comical. You know, one of the funniest things about the characters, like there's a lot of kids in the anime that show up. They all have like just little black solo little eye things. They look like almost like beads, and it's always funny when you see that, because it's not anything. I mean, compared to the art style of the main characters, for example, you see these little characters with, you know, black beady eyes, but it comes off as funny and kind of like nice and touching, not creepy or stupid or a lack of animation. It actually just looks like it works for the show and its own concepts. Now, you know, keeping the gushing train rolling, because I really do love this show. What was even better was the fact that I originally was gonna have a lot of issues with certain concepts of the show, namely some of the character kind of relationships and what they were doing with them. I didn't fully kind of like in the beginning part. But what's ironic about this is that this is one of those shows that once you start getting to the points that you start going, oh, that's why they did it, you know, you're amazed that that was what's happening. And I'll tell you guys right now, and this is not spoiling anything, but you know, the smarter person might be able to realize this, and if you don't worry, I didn't even realize it, and I'm pretty good at predicting shows. The title, Your Lie in April, remember that title, and remember what it actually means for the show, because it actually has something very significant to the plot and what's actually happening in the show. And it's not really something that you'll ever figure out exactly until the very, very end of the show. But when you figure that out, it is something that almost hits you like a gut punch. And when I was hit by it, I was like, wow, that's what that meant all along? Oh my god, it was amazing. You know, honestly, Your Lie in April has to be one of the greatest shows I've seen in a long time. From every standpoint, of every aspect of it, I have not had a show that I would buy immediately. When this comes out, I immediately plan on buying it. I will buy it whenever I can, but I will buy it. I'm telling you guys right now, you're going to love this show. If you have any love for anime in terms of romance, if you love kind of drama-filled shows, if you love music, this show is for you, honestly. That's why if I had to give Your Lie in April an A through F, A+. That's not, I don't even need hesitation, it's A+. It really is. Honestly, you know, my top 10 would have to reformat it just because of the show, because it'd probably be my second place of favorite shows, and I'll be honest with you, almost dethroned Clannad. Almost, not exactly, but almost came close to dethroning it. And I don't want to hear like I know a lot of people compare it to Clannad. And I know I've already seen a lot of comments do that in other videos. Don't do that. Don't go into the show comparing this to Clannad. Like, I didn't go into the show thinking this was Clannad or going to be anything like that. Even though there's some similar concepts that do show up, this is not the same type of show. This is not trying to be the same show. This is its own show, and I think when you do that, you kind of set yourself up for this roller coaster train of being either disappointed or loving it beyond it. And I just don't think it's worth it. So go into this with an open mind and open heart, and you'll love the show just as much as I did. Trust me, you really will. Anyways, guys, that's it for today's review. I hope you guys liked it. Please like, comment, subscribe. Look at my Twitter account. Look at my my anime list. And as always, guys, until I pass across again in the next review, have a good one, everyone. Bye-bye.